start. Welcome. This is a candidate forum for Athens Township Trustee. I'm Debbie Schmeeding with the Athens League of Women Voters, one of the co-sponsors of the series of candidate forums for the fall, along with the Athens County Library System. And we're glad you're here. The format for the evening will be that each candidate will have a 3-minute introduction. Then there will be questions from our from David DeWitt from the Athens News until he gets done, I guess. And then the candidates will each have 2 minutes to answer the questions. We'll start with Mr. Adkins for the. We'll start with Mr. Adkins for the opening, and then proceed along, and then stagger who gets to start with each question. Once we're done with Mr. DeWitt, we will take all throughout we'll take questions from you all. If you have a question and want to write it on a yellow piece of paper and just hold it up, then it's nice to lady over here pick it up for you and bring it to our question reviewers. They'll be taking a look at the question for primarily, are they pertinent to the race? Are they questions that can be answered equally by each candidate? So we're not looking for questions that are attacking or specifically one candidate, but please try to phrase your questions so that it can be answered by each of the candidates. Before we get underway, I'd like to point out that we have an issue forum coming up on October 15th here, same time, I'm sorry, it's at the Community Center at 6:30 on October 15th about electric aggregation in the city of Athens. It's you're right, it's Athens County Issue 2 and Athens City Issue 3, deciding whether to allow Athens City and county government to aggregate electric service for retail customers, which is pretty much about all I understand it right now.
Next week, city council.
Next week here we have a city council, and that's.
A week from tonight.
Yes, I understand. That's it for the forums.
29th, we have Board of Education.
Okay, thank you. The 29th we have Board of Education. Assistant moderator. Okay, I'm thinking that that's all you need to start off.
Can I explain the time system?
Yes.
You will have those 2 minutes, and I will show you this. So you have 30 seconds left. I'll show you this. I can work it. When you have 15 seconds left, and then this when you have no time left.
Okay, so we'll begin with an introductory statement by Mr. Adkins.
Thank the League of Women Voters for having this opportunity. I'm Tom Atkins. I retired from Ohio University. I was a licensed stationary engineer. I also served as the ASME Union President. Public service. I've served Athens Township Trustee off and on since 1979. I left the office to serve as Athens County Commissioner. Overall, I have almost 20 years of experience, which is good. We have several new trustees. My public service, Athens County Commissioner 4 years, Chief of the Richmond Area Fire Department, in 1978, I personally helped to collect donations for the first rescue unit in this county, and the Ox Water Board and Athens Children's Services.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Urban?
Yeah, my name is Ronnie Urban. I'm a dairy farmer in Athens Township. I lived there all my life, and I had Athens Messenger route for 27 years, ran in Athens Township. And I've worked with the Athens Soil and Water, and I was on the board of the Athens Landmark for three years. And I have various plants on my farm for the soil and water, and I travel the road a lot to travel to different farms, and I help on making decisions on the budget each year on the farm, and like to serve the Athens Township Trustee. I thank the Lincoln League of Voters.
Thank you. Mr. Pearson?
Hello, my name is Steve Pearson, and I would first like to thank the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this forum and providing each of the 4 candidates, there are 4 of us, an opportunity to present our perspectives on the future of Athens Township. I've been serving as a public official in Athens County for the past 20 years. Many people in the area are familiar with my work and my dedication to the preservation of public good through fair and equal application of the law. I'm now serving in my 5th year as the Director of Code Enforcement in the City of Nelsonville, and I previously served 14 years as the Director of Development Enforcement Facilities for the City of Athens. I'm also a 32-year member of Carpenter's Local 200 in Columbus, Ohio, just recently retired. I'm currently serving in my 18th year as a member of the Athens County Regional Planning Commission, and prior to moving to Athens County, I served as a Planning Commissioner and Board of Zoning Appeals member in Gordon Township. That's in Fairfield County. I'm currently the chair of the Design Committee of Nelsonville Main Street. I'm a member of the Athens County GIS Steering Committee through the County Auditor's Office. I'm a member of the County Hazard Mitigation Planning Committee. I've also taken now a position with the Athens County Historical Preservation Committee and the Nelsonville Restoration Foundation. I'm the past president and current vice president of United Seniors of Athens County and the president-elect of Athens 17. In 2009, I completed the Athens Foundation Leadership Athens County program, and I'm also a founding member of the Ohio Floodplain Management Association. In addition, I served as a member of the City of Athens Water Protection Team when the ordinance was originally drafted. If elected trustee, I'd be honored to continue working for the public and protecting the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Athens Township. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. DeWitt, you want to ask the first question? And this will be to start for Mr. Irvin.
Okay, great, thank you. I'm just going to start off kind of broad, and then later on I have some more detailed questions, but just to begin with, what is the most important thing to you that the Athens Township trustees accomplish in coming years?
To maintain, to have good roads and keep the ditches clean and culverts and the roads, and the roadside mowed back, and have it safe for the public. And my most concern is for the citizens of Athens Township, keep the roadways clean. That'd be great.
Mr. Pearson?
My biggest concern at the moment is the extension of public sewer to the 3250 Bradford Road corridor. This is a continued agenda item at the Regional Planning Commission meetings held monthly. But I'm always asking for input from the city administrators and county commissioners that attend those meetings. I think it's very important to protect the environment. And right now, I think the largest threat to public safety and something that environmentally needs protection is the collection and centralized treatment of sewage in that corridor. It's a pretty serious item when EPA finds that you're potentially polluting one of the best streams, Margaret's Creek, in this part of the state. And so I think that's what I would consider to be my highest priority, is becoming involved in those discussions about sewer extension.
Mr. Atkins?
If it's feasible, I think, to do with the sewer, that would be great. But first, it's got to be feasible, and with the citizens to pay the bill on it.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Sure, yeah. Actually, you touched on a couple of the questions that I had, so I'll just go down with my list. How have you been, or in some of your case, how would you be or how would you work with the county engineer's office to maximize road maintenance and repair?
And this is for Mr. Pearson to start.
Well, I'll admit, first of all, that my expertise is not in roads or roadway improvements. I think the township trustees and the staff that they have right now has done a great job. I live on a very steep hill coming down into the plains, and the employees of the township have done a great job. But as far as working with the county engineer, Jeff Mate is a very close friend of mine. I've known him for quite a few years. He and I actually have been working together to work on an appeal for the floodplain mapping in Nelsonville. So he's an advocate for the entire county, and especially now being a resident of the Plains, which is very close to where I live also. I think Jeff and I, even in physical proximity, would have lots of opportunities to have any discussion necessary. But I think just the friendship and my association with him over time helps to cut through some what otherwise might be bureaucratic red tape and actually work that personal side of things to benefit the township residents.
Mr. Atkins?
The county engineer, we have a good working relationship with the county engineer, and I think the biggest challenge it faces, the biggest challenge is the climbing cost of materials to maintain the roads. So there's the sound budget management, which requires a thoroughly knowledge of the township to see how to stretch the funds that we have to cover those needs. Roads is obviously the top priority because they align to that public safety. Township trustees oversees the Plains Volunteer Fire Department. I have an excellent relationship with the Plains Fire Department, township workers, especially our residents. I am available the night and day to Athens Township. You can call me. I will give you a prompt response.
Mr. Urban?
Yeah, I would look forward to working with the county engineer on any issues we would have with the roads or anything in that nature. And as long as it's in our budget where we can work together and without putting on the taxpayers, raising taxes on, so we could, as long as we stay in our budget.
Do you have additional questions?
Yes.
Take your time.
Returning to another subject that's already been touched upon, the Athens to Albany corridor and sewer expansion in that area. Officials from the health department have said that that's one of the biggest health concerns in the county. And residents in that area, though the deal isn't done yet, are curious as to how they'll be impacted as far as tap-in fees and sewer rates. Could you give me your position on that intergovernment agreement and the importance of it to people living in the township?
And this is for Mr. Atkins first.
We said it's got to be feasible, right? It can't cost the residents outrageous money to live, but yes, it would be nice to have it done, get the job done. That answer your...
Yeah, I kind of have a follow-up as well, as far as there's been a discussion between the county and the city regarding what development could possibly take place in that corridor. And I was curious what your feelings are on that issue, whether you support new development being able to go into there without the city's approval, or is it better to get an agreement done where city approval might be a factor with regard to future development in that area?
Did you have a further answer to that, Mr. Atkins? Regarding the
Again, it's up to the citizen, the cost of the job. Yeah. Is that, have I said what you need to hear?
Yeah, you're saying it has to be workable for the residents of the area.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Urban?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Mr. Atkins, just as long as it's feasible, and if they would know what it's going to cost, show the public what it's going to cost before, you know, they go into it, to put the hookups and everything in that nature, and if it could be feasible, if it could be done, and how many people would want it out there if they took a survey or something in that nature.
Mr. Pearson?
One of the reasons that I am interested in the sewer expansion down to 3250 corridor is that anybody who's been in the area for quite a while knows that the Village of Albany had orders from the EPA on them to do something about their sewage disposal. And in the case of the Village of Bookville, they actually have an agreement with the City of Nelsonville to provide water and treat sewage. I provided Mayor Weil a copy of that agreement previously from the City of Nelsonville when discussion at the Regional Planning Commission was about the type of agreement that the city would have with the county. I am also concerned, and I realize too, that the city will have to put limitations on the additional amount of sewage that it can take in. I'm a little concerned though about the city's wanting to, or the discussions that the city wanted to actually review or regulate the type of structures or the type of businesses that would use that additional capacity. I understand that you need to cover the existing residential uses, majority residential uses, but I think it should be the property owners and the citizens of the township through whatever means they might use to regulate development. That should be more the option of those outside the city as opposed to being dictated by the city. I do understand you have to have limitations. The plant's only so large, even though there's a $20 million plus improvement going on right now. Those facilities do reach their limit. For example, in the case of Nelsonville, also we've been asked to treat Murray City sewage, and we just don't have the capacity of the plant. So it's a valuable resource to be protected. I understand that.
Okay. Do you have additional questions?
I could probably keep coming up with them forever.
Well, we don't
But
go for everybody.
I'll just ask one more for now. And that is, I wanted to get your thoughts on the issue of horizontal hydraulic fracturing and specifically, or in addition to that generally, the proposal of a group of both Athens residents and non-residents who want to regulate injection wells and fracking in the city limits and perhaps beyond.
Mr. Urban, you're first, please.
Well, with my understanding, that the state kind of regulates the hydraulic fracking, and I don't think the townships can do much about it because the state regulated, and on far as disposal wells, I'd be, I'm for, to have hearings for the public. They all know what's going on with the disposal wells and so forth.
The issue both is for hydraulic fracturing and for waste disposal. I think the biggest concern here locally is not necessarily the horizontal fracturing, but the import of waste material. That's a little more my concern about any potential to pollute the water of this area. As a trustee, also one of the first things that I would be wanting to be involved in is the conditions of the roads, the township roads, and working with the county engineer. The county roads too, what condition are they in when any kind of heavy trucking or equipment moving or any increased degree of development would occur? How are you compensated or restored for one of the main pieces of infrastructure that the trustees are most responsible for taking care of? So I think that's a big thing. That also would tie that back into the idea of extending water and sewer in that area. Many township roads are going to be disturbed, basically just one, Bradford Road, one county road. But most of the roads disturbed will be township roads. And so that working relationship between the contractors, the installers, the county engineer will be very important. And I think it's a great opportunity to improve the infrastructure of the whole township. As Mr. Urban said, the state right now, the State Oil and Gas Resource Management Division of ODNR regulates that type of thing. I think that's one of the reasons the Board of Elections thought that the local initiative failed, because it was outside the city's jurisdiction. It was in the jurisdiction of the state. So those are, having been involved in government, I understand where each has responsibility.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'll turn it over now.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Atkins, I didn't give you a chance to answer. I circled your number before you got that.
Are we talking about injection wells? Well, injection wells should be banned in the state of Ohio and should not ever any in Athens County.
Thank you. Now I have one question from the audience, which I will ask, and Mr. Pearson, since for you to answer first.
Okay.
A Columbus Dispatch article said that many of the bridges needing repair are on roads in counties and townships. Are there any bridges if there are bridges in Athens Township that need repair, how would you as a township trustee assist with that?
Well, I suppose, as both the other candidates have mentioned, first thing to do would be to check your own local budget to see what kind of fund you may have available. And in general, my relationship in working with grants, which mostly road, water, and sewer, bridge projects are grant funded also. There's a local match that has to take place, and usually some in-kind work that can be provided, should be provided by the township in lieu of funding. Right now, I'm working on 2 grants for the city of Nelsonville with the Ohio Emergency Management Association for hazard mitigation in the flood hazard area. Also, I'm working with the commissioners on a grant, a federal grant, moving Ohio forward for demolition of blighted and dilapidated property. So I'm familiar with the grant process of obtaining additional funding outside the limited resources of local communities. And so I think that's one advantage that I have, being familiar with that process.
Mr. Atkins?
You're talking about bridges, the county engineer is responsible for the bridges in the county, in the township.
Yeah, that's my understanding. The county engineer is responsible for replacing the bridges in the townships, and if the money is there for to do it, then they should be replaced.
If there are any additional questions and what you just want to hold up your paper, then Ann Gabriels will pick it up for you. Bring it up the front.
There's one, and here's a general about numbers. That gives
Or as a library.
for a moment or two.
If you can read it. If not, ask, I will translate. Don't write too much anymore.
Yes, exactly. All right. This question is first for Mr. Atkins. What problems or obstacles does this township face in particular? Problems or obstacles for this township?
Athens Township, what problems we face? Is that the question?
Yes.
Well, at the present time, our biggest challenge is the high cost of material to maintain the roads and solutions to sound budget management, which requires a thorough knowledge of the township needs and how to stretch the funds that we have to cover those needs.
Thank you. Mr. Urban? What problems or obstacles does this township face?
Well, they probably need to keep the ditches a little cleaner and so forth, and the culverts, check the culverts a little better. I know it's been a little kind of a wet year and so forth. And, if the funding's there, maybe resurface the roads and so forth, and try to stretch the money they have for the budget they have.
Thank you. Mr. Pearson?
Well, I think one of the problems or obstacles right now that the township has is kind of overcoming some bad PR with the city. There seem to be quite a few in the city that, I don't know if they don't understand a more rural form of life, or they're more accustomed to, living in a close community, neighbors that are a lot closer, but the concept that, for example, the sewer is extended outside the city, there will be wild, out of control growth, is kind of an implication that there's lawlessness in the township, which there isn't. As a matter of fact, there is the ability, if the citizens and the residents of Athens Township think that there are a lack of development regulations for land use control, there is the ability under Chapter 504 of the Ohio Revised Code to form a limited township form of government, where you can exercise, besides zoning. Zoning is something that Chapter 519 of the Ohio Revised Code allows for townships. But you can have limited home rule township government to control things like sexually oriented businesses, gambling, skill-based games. You can do it for noise, for trash. You can create your own police department, for example, with limited township home rule. So those are, some of the kinds of things I think that I would like to help facilitate for the residents outside the city, if there is a desire, to have more land use regulation, more control. I think I'm the person that could help that along. I'm also a person who's high on personal property rights also. I think government has to be very careful when it legislates your right to life and your use of your property. And so I'd be very cautious in any kind of regulation that the township might want to additionally impose.
Thank you. The next question is for Mr. Urban first. It's a good follow-up, I think, to what you started. How would you improve the working relationship between the township and the city of Athens?
Well, it's kind of hard, but you just work with them the best you can, and always have a good work ethic with one another. And if something needs addressed, to address it right and correctly, and do the best you can with them. And I always, our farm joins the city, and we've always had good relations with the city of Athens, and it's always been a good neighbor to work with.
Pearson?
You know, Athens County only has a little over 60,000 residents, so it's not that hard to only be a couple of people away from knowing everybody in the county. And as I mentioned before, I was in the 2009 Leadership Athens County class where Councilperson Nisley was also a member of that. Mayor Weil was also a member of that class. I actually worked for 6 months for Mayor Weil, so I have a good established working relationship with many of the people that are still in government in the city of Athens. Also, interacting with them at the Regional Planning Commission level, I think I've shown over time a continuing interest in the community and a willingness to explore all angles, to solve problems, to explore all the possibilities, to let everybody who might have interest or stake express themselves and have themselves heard. I think I'm known as a good listener, very cautious and reserved in my approaches to things, but always looking to make progress wherever possible. And in that, I would say that personal relationships are very important in any kind of communication. I do have that established relationship with the city.
Mr. Atkins?
You're talking about relationship with the city.
Yes.
Athens Township, as far as I know, has a good working relationship with the city of Athens. I've never heard anything any different.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'd like to offer the candidates an opportunity for a 3-minute wrap-up statement. And it would be Mr. Irvin's turn to start.
Yeah, I would like to very much be an Athens Township trustee, and I think I could work with the other trustees and the workers and have a good relationship and travel most of the roads, like I said a little while ago, a lot every day on my duties, and I think I would could work with the fire departments and the other assistant township trustees. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Pearson?
I've got a little cheat sheet here, so we're limited.
That's fine.
About to 2 minutes. I want to make sure that I didn't get too windy. I've been accused of that. The next several years will be very critical for maintaining the quality of life for citizens of Athens Township, providing opportunities to maintain employment, preserving the benefits of good neighborhoods for families, and expanding and improving them in a productive and environmentally conscientious way. The most basic needs for successful communities are good schools, clean water, proper treatment of sanitary waste, good roads and berms and signage, and a fire protection service that protects life and property. I'd just like to say, too, I think the fire department just does a fantastic job right now. I don't have any problem with that. I believe that Athens Township provides these things, and it's important that local officials be held accountable for the trust and stewardship of their preservation. Local officials should remain in close contact with their county, state, and federal counterparts to assure local residents that all possible opportunities to improve the community are realized. I've been doing that in the Athens community for almost 20 years and would appreciate your trust in continuing such service in the future. Governmental regulation of private property should be well considered before it's implemented. Although we are by right given liberty and the ability to improve our situation in life, there are times when the general good of citizens requires each of us to relinquish some of that control in order to preserve public health and safety. For example, it is my intention to work closely with the county commissioners and the city of Athens as sanitary sewers extended in the 3250 Radford Road corridor. I believe this is a critical environmental need in the community, and proper collection and treatment of waste, I believe, is something that the township trustee should have being seated at the table with the commissioners in the city during the negotiations. It is my intention to gain a seat at the table of the Athens City Water Protection Team also. Although much of the area is served by LEAX water, the high school in the Plains depends upon city water. Its quality and protection are important to those residents as well as it is to those in the city. So I have an interest in that protection. township-wide. It is also my intention that if the citizens of the township show interest, I'll explore the possibility of limited home rule or the will of the residents who do not live in the city and are not subject to Athens city regulations can direct their affairs in a manner that seems more appropriate for a rural form of life. I would appreciate the opportunity to serve as an Athens Township trustee and promise that I will remain responsive, accountable, and progressive as the area improves and the best of the past and the present are maintained.
Thank you. Mr. Atkins, would you like to make a wrap-up?
I'd like to wrap mine up and said that we have the best roads. Athens Township has the best roads, the best workers in this county. You can travel all the roads and in the city, out of the city, and Athens Township, we've maintained the best roads, the best workers in the county. I'm proud of the workers. They're fine, fine people. Any place they go, I get a comment saying how nice and how respectful they was to the person. I'm proud to be an Athens Township trustee. I'd like to serve you for another 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to remind you one more time, a little more clearly this time. October 8th, here at the library, we have a candidate forum for City Council. October 15th, at the Community Center, will be an issue forum on electric aggregation for the city and the county. October 29th, a candidate forum for school board here at the library. In addition, watch for the voter guide, which will be printed as always for us by the Athens Messenger, and will also be in its entirety on the website, athensneighborhoodvoters.org. So I want to thank Ann Gabriels, Greeter, Dana Carlson, Jean Drubenstead, and Ellsworth Holden from the League for assisting with the forum, and David DeWitt from the Athens